Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's working. Welcome to the Shy Life Podcast.
Oh, darling, the Shy Life Podcast. Is that still going? Oh, joking.
Oh dear, the Shy Life Podcast. It's my favourite show.
812, 812.
812. 812. 812.
812.
812.
Oh, 812, 812, darling. 812, darling.
Hello, listeners. Sorry, it's not the usual theme music. I'm having to edit on the move, as it were. This is a live show. We haven't done a live show for ages, have we? This is a live show, and it's broadcasting out across space. Oh yes, out across space. I'm in Ix spaceship. I have asked if it'd be possible to lower the UFO sound effects in the background, but who knows whether he's been able to do that or not. I don't think he'll be joining us because, maybe at the end. I don't know. He'll have to put the ship on autopilot if he's going to join in. So yeah, it's you and I, guys. This isn't the episode I was expecting to put out. I've been having a lot of technical problems. One thing or another, drives breaking, laptops breaking, and always at the most inconvenient time. I just arrived at my parents' and my laptop in Salisbury just went kaput, and and then a few months ago I had the same thing with a drive that went, and then I had to scrabble to. You'll remember this. Anyway. At time of recording, it's Easter weekend. Well, I think it is. Even in space, it's Easter weekend. I didn't have much planned, even before the laptop went down. But I'm sort of rather stuck at the moment because I was at my parents'. And I had to order another laptop, and then of course I have to wait for it to arrive. And Nick said that he could take me out for a bit of a jaunt, and then also suggested I use his new studio, which I'm in. Yes, this is his refurbished podcast studio. It's good. It's nice. I think it's nice. But anyway, so what are we going to be talking about this episode? Well, as I say, I've got things that we're going to talk about. I'm not going to do too much editing this episode, so you probably will get a lot of ums, unless I do get rid of the ums. We'll see. I have to be very careful. It's very easy to start umming. Yes. One thing that happened today before I left for space was that I got to watch. There's been two old episodes from 1965 of Doctor Who that have been rediscovered. 2 Dalek episodes. So first thing I did this morning was watch 2 episodes of 61-year-old Doctor Who that Actually, I've never seen. Obviously, I've never seen because I'm not that old. And actually, I've never really. I don't think I've ever listened to it either because although that story had been released as an audiobook, I'm not even sure I read the novelisation of that particular story. It's from a story called The Dalek Master Plan, and I think I was a bad fan. By the time that book came out, I was kind of past the point of reading Doctor Who books. I was reading Stephen King or whatever, and I never really bothered with the audio. I found it difficult to concentrate on them. So yes, it was completely new Doctor Who to me, and I rather enjoyed it. It features a companion called Katerina, who doesn't last very long in the history of the show. In fact, she only joined the TARDIS at the end of the previous story. She only makes it through about 3.5 episodes, or if that, before something nasty happens to her. She was like a slave girl from the past, and I thought she was quite good. She had lots of questions because, she hadn't been on many spaceships before she met the Doctor. And, I read somewhere that they got rid of her because she was difficult to write for. I would have thought that she would have given them masses of ideas for writing. Having somebody who completely did not understand time travel or space travel. The previous younger companion, Susan was the Doctor's granddaughter, and Vicky was certainly somebody from the future who knew about spaceships. So they could have done so much with that character. Sounds like they were just being lazy. There's a character in Tom Baker's, for those of you who don't know, there's a character in Tom Baker's era called Leela, who was a savage. And she, has lots of questions and has to be taught about time travel and space travel and different worlds and all that sort of thing. And they could have done the same with Katerina, I would have thought. But anyway. But yes, it was very nice to see those episodes. And they've survived pretty well, considering that they were just languishing in someone's store cupboard or whatever, with loads of other film tins. What else has been going on? I met my new friend Jack for coffee when I was at my parents' yesterday. He went to my school. He was a former pupil of Bishop Wordsworth's school. Not when I was there, but after me. But we had some teachers we both remembered who were there when I was there and were there when he was there. And funnily enough, we worked out that we probably both stood at the same bus stop, but years between us, as it were. So that was nice. We went to 2 nice coffee shops in Salisbury that I've not been to. One was called the Boston Tea Party, and I think it used to be called something else years ago. That was nice. Then we went to one called something like Cook's. It was new, a nice cheesy pasty there. Yeah, so that was a nice treat, and lots of chatting. Jack is a Scorpio, so Matthias would be pleased because he's very keen on Scorpios. Well, Scorpios, I'm a Scorpio, and I always seem to get on well with Scorpios. Obviously, Andy, birthday twin, is a Scorpio. Jay the Haunt Cub's a Scorpio. Nick is a Scorpio. There's lots of Scorpios in my life, and they're all really nice people. Not that I'm saying that people who aren't Scorpios aren't nice. It's just, I don't know. I don't really believe in star signs, but yeah, there's something about Scorpios. I don't know what it is, unless it's complete coincidence. But I don't think I'm yet to meet a nasty Scorpio. Maybe I've met a nasty Scorpio and just didn't know their star sign. So anyway, talking about stars, I'm just gonna look out the window and tell you what I can see. I made some notes. I have come prepared, but so yes, I made these notes just before we came online. So I was looking off the port side of its spaceship. I could see the massive stripes of Jupiter. They were rolling endlessly. Bands of burnt orange and cream twisting into the colossal storm of the great red spot. Even from the ship, we were obviously at a distance. Even from the ship, it felt, alive. It was like churning. The great red spot looked like it was watching us. Jupiter's moons drift nearby like a miniature system of their own. Europa glowing smooth and pale beneath a cracked shell of ice, and Io flickering with volcanic fire, tiny eruptions visible as pinpricks of gold. I put here, the scale is dizzying. You're not just passing a planet, you're skimming the edge of a whole moving world of storms and fire. Usually when I'm up in space, I have Mr. T to sort of give me information, but about the planets we're visiting. And I've been around this area before, but it's been a while. So it was very nice. Thank you, Ick, for taking me out for a day trip on an otherwise quiet afternoon. I think it is afternoon up here. I guess it must still be. Oh yes, I also found out something today about Winnie the Pooh. I was talking to Matty before, Mateus Grizzly, before I came up here, and for some reason we were talking about Winnie the Pooh, and he said to me, "Is Winnie the Pooh a girl?" And I said, "What makes you think that?" And he said, "Well, Winnie, isn't that a girl's name?" And I said, "Well, you've got a good point." So I had a look, and no, Winnie the Pooh. I didn't think Winnie the Pooh was a girl because he looks very boysy in all the cartoons you see, all the drawings you see. But apparently Winnie the Pooh was originally called Edward Bear, but was later renamed, and the Winnie part comes from there was a popular black bear at the London Zoo named Winnie, short for Winnipeg, a real life mascot for a Canadian soldier. So that's where Winnie came from, and it was from the place Winnipeg, and the Pooh bit came from a swan that Christopher Robin, the real Christopher Robin, met at a petting zoo, which was named Pooh. So the real Christopher Robin had a bear, a toy bear, which she called Edward Bear, but then renamed Winnie the Pooh, and the stories sort of came from that. And well, I mean, that might not be completely correct, but there are various different variations on the story online, but it's Winnie the Pooh is certainly not a girl, and the Winnie and the Pooh bits come from things that aren't directly related to, well, I guess Winnie is a bear, but anyway, I've got a quiz for you in a minute. I've got a number of things to go through with you, but I will be playing a bit of music in between because I need to look out the window and write some more notes about what I'm seeing. So you can do that whilst I'm playing you some music. So have a listen to something, and when we come back, I've got a Doctor Who quiz. I thought we'd do a Doctor Who quiz to mark the return of those Dalek episodes. It felt like we ought to do something Doctor Who. Yeah. I'm hoping we'll better connect with Yeti Uncle John and Cromitty later in the episode as well, but we'll see. Okay. Back in a moment. Okay. Let's do this Doctor Who quiz. I made some more notes whilst you were listening to that music about what I'm seeing, but I'll share that with you in a bit. We have 10 questions. Now, this is about old Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who. I asked for hard questions, so I'm going to see if I can answer them as well. But I'll give you a chance to answer them, and then I'll give the answers at the end. So 10 questions. In the story The Deadly Assassin, what is unique about the Doctor's situation on Gallifrey? Is it A, he regenerates mid-trial? Is it B, he has no companion? Is it C, he is president of Gallifrey? Or is it D, he loses his memory? Do know the answer to this one. Do you want me to read the question again? In The Deadly Assassin, what is unique about the Doctor's situation on Gallifrey? A, he regenerates mid-trial. B, he has no companion. C, he is president of Gallifrey. Or D, he loses his memory. I mean, he does regenerate. He has a couple of trials. One in Patrick Troughton's last story, and he does regenerate at the end of that. And at the end of Colin Baker's time, he was on trial. And although you didn't see him regenerate at the end of that, he regenerated soon afterwards. He was president of Gallifrey. I lose track of how many times, but he definitely doesn't lose his memory. I think, I mean, it's B, he has no companion, but we will get official confirmation of this. Of course, when you do quizzes like this online, sometimes they get it wrong. So, this is why I'm doing old Doctor Who rather than new Doctor Who, because although I've watched all the new Doctor Who, my retention for detail is not so good on new Doctor Who, because there's just, I spent the first however many years of my life being a Doctor Who fan, and that there was 26 years worth of stuff to be interested in, and I sort of had that pretty much under my belt, except for some of the, as I've said, some of the missing stories. Maybe I was a little bit more woolly on those. But then when Doctor Who came back, now there's another 20 years on top of that. Plus, anyway, let's go on to question 2. Which serial first reveals the name of the Time Lord's home planet as Gallifrey? Is it A, The War Games, B, The Three Doctors, C, The Deadly Assassin, or D, The Invasion of Time? I thought it was another story altogether. I felt like it was The Time Warrior. The War Games is set on Gallifrey, but doesn't mean to say that they said it. Three Doctors has Time Lords, but do they say that the Time Lords are on Gallifrey? Deadly Assassin is set on Gallifrey. I presume by then they're saying it. The Invasion of Time, they must definitely mentioned it was called Gallifrey by then. So I think it's either A or B. I'm gonna go with the War Games, but I'm not sure, because that might just be the first time they call them Time Lords. We will double check on this one if I'm not happy with what the answer is. Okay, question 3. What is the name of the Great Intelligence's robot servant in The Abominable Snowmen? Great Intelligence. Is it A, Yeti Mark 1, B, K1, C, the Servitor, or D, Mechanoid? What is the name of the Great Intelligence's robot servant in The Abominable Snowmen? Is it Yeti Mark 1, B, K1, C, the Servitor, or D, Mechanoid? Well, I don't know if it was referred to as Yeti Mark 1, but of the two appearances, not including the appearance of a Yeti in The Five Doctors, of the two appearances of the Yeti in Patrick Troughton's era. The Abominable Snowmen was the first of those two appearances. So I'm going to go for A, Yeti Mark 1, but I don't think they were really called Yeti Mark 1. Maybe they were. Definitely not mechanoid. They're to do with Daleks. Well, no, not really to do with Daleks, but robot foes of the Daleks. The Servitor, I can't even remember. In K1, I can't remember if K1 is one of the robots of Robots of Death. I can't remember. Anyway, sorry. Question 4. In Genesis of the Daleks, what ethical dilemma does the Doctor face? A, whether to destroy Skaro. B, whether to prevent the Daleks' creation. C, whether to save Davros. Or D, whether to abandon Sarah Jane. In Genesis of the Daleks, what ethical dilemma does the Doctor face? A, to destroy Skaro. B, to prevent the Daleks' creation. C, to save Davros. Or D, to abandon Sarah Jane. Well, it was B, to prevent the Daleks' creation. At least I think that's what the answer is. It wasn't to save Davros. It wasn't to leave Sarah Jane. And I don't know that he was planning to destroy Skaro. I don't think that would have been the sort of thing the Doctor does. Question 5. Which companion was a mathematician who travelled with the Fifth Doctor? A, Nissa, B, Tegan, C, Adric, or D, Romana? Which companion was a mathematician who travelled with the Fifth Doctor? A, Nissa, B, Tegan, C, Adric, D, Romana. Well, that was C, Adric. This is only my answer. You are allowed other answers. Question 6. What is the name of the Time Lord who acts as the prosecutor in the trial of a Time Lord? Is it A, the Inquisitor, B, the Valeyard, C, the Castellan, or D, Barusa? I would say the answer is B, the Valeyard. Question 7. In the Talons of Weng Chiang, what is the true nature of Weng Chiang? A, he's a rogue Time Lord. B, he's a future human warlord. C, he's an alien shapeshifter. Or D, he's a Sontaran experiment. In the Talons of Weng Chiang, what is the true nature of Weng Chiang? He's a rogue Time Lord, a future human warlord, an alien shapeshifter, or a Sontaran experiment. My answer would be B, a future human warlord. Okay, question 8. Which story features the first appearance of the Cybermen? Is it A, the 10th Planet, B, the Moon Base, C, Tomb of the Cybermen, or D, the Invasion? It is A, the 10th Planet. Question 9. What is unusual about the Doctor's regeneration in Logopolis? A, it is triggered by radiation poisoning. B, it is caused by a fall. C, it is forced by the Master. Or D, it happens off-screen. What is unusual about the Doctor's regeneration in Logopolis? It is triggered by radiation poisoning. It is caused by a fall. It is forced by the Master. It happens off-screen. Well, it's not triggered by radiation poisoning because that happens in Caves of Androzani. The next regeneration. Well, it's not really forced by the Master, although he is involved in Logopolis. I mean, he kind of causes the Doctor to fall, which is what I think the answer is B. It's caused by a fall. It doesn't happen off screen. It sort of happens off screen. Well, it does happen off screen when Patrick Troughton turns into John Pertwee. Yeah. Okay. The last one is, in the War Games, what punishment do the Time Lords give the Doctor? A, exile to Earth and forced regeneration. B, imprisonment on Gallifrey. C, memory wipe and exile. Or D, execution, later revoked. My answer, well, so it's exile to Earth. So what punishment do the Time Lords give the Doctor? Exile to Earth and forced regeneration, imprisonment to Gallifrey, memory wipe and exile, or execution, later revoked. I mean, he is exiled. He does have some of his memories wiped, or certainly how to work the TARDIS to a certain extent. But I think the actual answer is exile to Earth and forced regeneration. Let's double check. Because I say there's at least one of those that I'm not sure I got the right answer. So in The Deadly Assassin, what is unique about the Doctor's situation on Gallifrey? the answer is B, which is he has no companion. So yes, we had that right. Question 2. Which serial first reveals the name of the Time Lord's home planet is Gallifrey? This was the one that I was a little bit unsure about, and I think I got this wrong. It was the Three Doctors rather than the War Games. I'm going to double check. I thought it was the Time Warrior. When was Gallifrey first mentioned in Doctor Who? I'm probably going to expose myself as a bad fan. Gallifrey was first mentioned by name on screen in Doctor Who during the third Doctor story, The Time Warrior, specifically Episode 1, broadcast in December 1973. While the planet and Time Lords were introduced earlier, notably in the War Games, the name Gallifrey was officially uttered for the first time by John Pertwee. The planet appeared without being named in the War Games and the Three Doctors. So they've got it wrong, and I was right. It's something that I read quite recently that reminded me, which is why I thought, okay, so it's 2 out of 2 so far, except the quiz itself was wrong. What is the name of the Great Intelligence's robot servant? They have it as A, which is Yeti Mark 1. I say I'm not really sure if they were known as that. What ethical dilemma did the Doctor face in Genesis of the Daleks? It was B, which is whether to prevent the Daleks' creation, which is what I said. The mathematician character was C, Adric, which is what we said. What is the name of the Time Lord who acts as the prosecutor? We said B, and the answer was B, the Valiard. Now, Talons of Weng Chiang, what was the true nature of Weng Chiang? The answer was B, which is a future human warlord, which is what we said. Which story features the first appearance of the Cybermen? That was A, the 10th Planet, and yes, they agree. What is unusual about the Doctor's regeneration in the Logopolis? Should be B, it was caused by a fall. Yes, they have that right as B. In the War Games, what punishment do the Time Lords give the Doctor? Should be A, exile to Earth. Yes, they have that right. So we got 10 out of 10, even though they mucked up one of the questions. So that's not bad, is it? Yes. Going to probably have some more music in a minute. Just going to check the chat room. There's some people talking to themselves. Because we're not getting the usual... back in the day when we did the live shows, we got like Troby and Lisa in the chat room. And whilst I'm here, I need to mention two sad things have happened. Two losses. Unfortunately, Martha Cat, Troby and Lisa's cat, passed away the other day, and Gustafa, Jay the Horn Cub's cat, passed away a couple of days before Martha. So it's been a bad time. Been a bad time for them and for cats of the podcast. Not to mention, I don't think I've released the episode yet, but you'll see there has been some changes in the situation of concerning Dealey, but I don't want to say anything too much because the episode's not gone out yet due to all the technical problems we've had. Let's look at the chat room. Spoilers. So yes, they've all got very interesting names. These people in the chat room. There's Zurich9 says, "Is anyone else receiving this strange Earth frequency? The host sounds squishy." Thank you very much. Velora of the Seventh Ring says, "Confirmed. The vocal vibrations suggest excitement or distress, hard to tell with humans. Well, I guess I've been quite excited talking about Doctor Who. Grunk says, I like this one, the noises are pleasing. Do they always breathe between sentences? I can confirm we do. It's kind of necessary. Then Exel Thari says, wait, did the host just laugh? Is that a warning signal? No, you're fine, you're fine. Oh, and Plim says, no, I studied this. Laughter indicates amusement. I think we are witnessing joy. Well, yes, I was quite joyful. Particularly about winning that Doctor Who quiz. Zurich9 says, fascinating, increased volume on my end. The broadcast is oddly compelling. I'm glad you think so. It's the first time I've done a live show in a long while. We do have oceans of episodes to edit and to share with you. Lots of things happening in the next few months. Lots of episodes already in the can, but, technology is getting in the way and it's slowing me down. I hope nothing's lost. But as I was saying, my laptop just packed in. There was an episode I'd edited, almost finished, with Martin Holmes and I talking about music, and I went to start working it again or continue working it, and boom! Well, there wasn't a boom, but boom! The laptop just went dead and just would not work. Now I think all of my backups of that episode are lost, but not the actual files. So I'm going to have to start that one again at some point. I don't know. I'm hoping that this episode that's going out live will also be released as the podcast. That'll probably be the next podcast. No Easter special as such, so I guess this is our Easter special. And no April Fools. There was no April Fools this year, although we do have a sort of episode where a lot of things go wrong, which probably would have come out around April Fool's Day, but might just come out slightly embarrassingly late. But I'll probably have to wait until I get back to Surrey to get back on track for normal episodes. But I there was no way. I had technical problems in March as well, and didn't release as many episodes as I hoped to. So determined that you'll have an episode. So yeah, this will be it. And yes, we'll get back on track when I get back to Surrey. Valora of the Seventh Ring says, the host is telling a story now. Their species relies heavily on narrative bonding rituals. Grunk says, I would like to try a story. And then he says, well, sorry, it may not be he. I don't know. I'll say they. I don't know if who's male, female, or what they may be. I will say they. Grunk then says, once I consumed a meteor, the end. That's a very nice story, Grunk. Well done. Oh, Plim says, that is not the same thing, Grunk. Oh, XL Thari then says, quiet, the host is speaking again. I detect confidence. Perhaps they are the leader of Earth. Or perhaps I am. We'll come back to the chat room later. We're going to listen to some music now. When we come back, I'll give you a bit of a description again of what I'm passing. That sounds wrong. What planets we're passing. I'm not passing wind or passing my dinner or something. No. Anyway, sorry. Right, have a listen, and I'll be back in a moment. Dear, oh dear. Hello. Hope you enjoyed that. So we passed. These are my notes. Ahead, the rings of Saturn stretch across space like a blade of light, impossibly thin yet vast, beyond comprehension. As we glide closer, the rings resolve into billions of icy fragments, each one catching the distant sun and flashing like diamonds. Just beyond them, Titan hangs in a hazy amber glow, its thick atmosphere swirling with methane clouds. It's eerie, almost Earth-like, but not quite. You can't shake the feeling that something could be moving beneath these clouds, hidden in that dim copper light. Quite poetic, Paul. Quite poetic. Talking about me writing, the other day I had a dream, and I woke up and I was like, that's a short story. And when I say short story, I didn't count the number of words. Years ago, about 2011, I think it was, I wrote a book called The Vampire Cows of Scunthorpe and Other Weirdnesses, or something like that. And it was poems, but a lot of it was 100-word stories, which you will have heard if you've listened to the show from the start. And the story I wrote the other day was probably more. I think it's more than 100 words, but I'm going to read it to you later. I'm not going to read it to you exactly now because we've got something else coming up. But I've got just getting a message.
Hello, Paul, it's me, Ick Dealin. How are you?
I'm all right, Ick.
How's the studio?
Going fine, thank you. Just been telling them some anecdotes, and the chat room's a bit buzzing.
I can see the chat room. Yes.
And I've been writing comments, and we've got some talking points coming up.
Oh, well, Paul, good. I'll leave you to it. I'll speak to you again before the end of the show. How much longer will you be doing?
I guess we're about halfway through.
No problem, Paul. Hello, listeners. Gosh, I'm hoping you're picking up some new listeners this time, Paul.
Yes, hopefully. Well, we're definitely broadcasting to a wider crowd than I used to do when I was just broadcasting to those on the Pride 48 feed. But, yes, okay. Thanks, Ick.
No problem, Paul.
What was I saying? Hopefully we'll hear from Cromarty and Yeti Uncle John soon. Here we go. I've got some weird talking points. They're 25 weird talking points involving mythical beasts, ghosts, or monsters. Yeah. I don't know. We might not have much to say about them. We'll see. They're just little statements. Please, listeners out there, although, you could go in the chat room, but I know I haven't promoted this very well. We promoted this more like across space more than we did back on Earth. Of all things, we weren't sure if Earth would be able to hear us until the episode goes out as a podcast. But anyway. But yes, if you hear these questions and you have answers, please feel free to record an audio message and send them to me, and we'll include them. Maybe we'll do some more live shows in the future if I have any more technological issues. So yes, what do you think about this? If a vampire drinks the blood of someone drunk, do they get tipsy too? I think they probably do, because the alcohol will be in their blood. Depends. I don't really know how vampires react to alcohol. I'm trying to think. I'm sure Dracula was. Obviously they drink blood, but sometimes if you see them sipping from a goblet, maybe you think it's wine and actually it's blood. I don't know. I'd have to research that, but I would say that if they did drink the blood of a drunk person, that they would get a little bit tipsy. But yeah, would a werewolf recognise itself in a mirror mid-transformation, or just panic? Good point, actually. Would a werewolf recognise itself in a mirror? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think they might panic. It depends. It must really Swiss cheese their brain. I think it would, but then hopefully they'd prepare. If it was going to be a problem, they'd know it was going to be a problem, and they'd hide the mirrors. But I think Yeah, that's never really been addressed in any films I've seen, but I think they might. I think they might just be too distracted. Maybe they might not even register or even sort of have time to sort of think about it, because the primal urges are taking over. Could a ghost get trapped in a VR headset and think it's alive again? I guess a ghost could get trapped in a VR headset. That would be kind of weird. I mean, depends. There are lots of different types of ghost. You can't really sort of say what like one type of ghost, because there just aren't. There are many. It's the sort of thing that a poltergeist might do, swooping around. But if dragons hoard gold, do they understand economics or just like shiny things? I think they might just like shiny things. I don't think they understand economics. Although maybe some of the cleverer ones do. I mean, Albert would. But Albert doesn't hoard gold. Well, not that I know about. Albert's a bit different anyway. He does like shiny things. He has a cat suit that he wears. I saw him wearing it at a disco once. Anyway, what happens if a zombie bites a vampire? Does anything change? A zombie bites a vampire. Well, zombies and vampires are different. Could a vampire? What if a vampire bit a zombie? Would a zombie become a vampire? I don't know. I don't think a vampire would be very happy about being bitten by a zombie. It's probably one of those things where they just end up destroying one another. Do mermaids consider humans mythical creatures the same way we see them? The same way we see them, sorry. I don't know. Possibly. I don't know, it depends I don't know what their education system is. I don't know how they perceive themselves compared to a human. It's a difficult one. 7, if you teach a demon manners, is it still evil or just polite chaos? Apologies if we've had any of these questions before when I've been talking to other guests. I don't know. Some of these do sound slightly familiar, but I don't know. I don't think demons are necessarily rude in that way. I mean, Tallulah's partner, Reginald, he's a demon and he's not rude. So I think it's possible, but he's not evil. But I don't think it assumes that all demons are bad or somehow. I mean, you wouldn't need to teach Reginald manners. He already knows them. But that's a bit of a mess, that question. Would Bigfoot wear shoes if you left some out in the forest? Well, considering that Bigfoot is a form of Yeti, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how Bigfoot compares to my sort of Yeti. I mean, obviously I wear shoes. I would have thought wandering around in the woods without shoes would be a bad idea. I would have thought, I don't know if Bigfoot is a little bit more bestial than me. I don't know if Bigfoot does a podcast, for instance. I think he'd either wear them or eat them. As I say, I've never encountered Bigfoot himself. Encountered Nessie. I know people who've mentioned that they bumped into Bigfoot before now, but they seem to have lived to tell the tale. But I'm sure one of them met Bigfoot at a quiz night. Anyway, can a ghost get tired of haunting the same place for centuries? Of course, I think so. I mean, again, ghosts are different. Some ghosts are looking to kind of move on eventually as well. There's not one type of ghost. I can imagine, depending where, if you're haunting somewhere that's really boring and you never see anyone, you can't even, nobody ever comes to where you're haunting. It's going to get boring, I would have thought. But I don't know. The ghosts I know are more sociable, like Douglas and Boo. And Polty, of course. If a basilisk looks at Medusa, who turns to stone first? Well, Medusa is a gorgon. Presumably a basilisk turns people to stone too. I think it really must depend on who looks at who first. Unless there's some sort of immunity between gorgons and basilisks. I was turned to stone once, but luckily they were able to undo it. It was at my birthday party years ago. Do shapeshifters have a default form, or are they always guessing? I'm not sure if they have a default form. I've met shapeshifters, but always in a form that I presumed wasn't their default form. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. If a mummy gets modern skincare, does it stop being cursed? What you mean? It's when it's like stops having to wear the bandages. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's worse. It's not good. A little bit of acne cream isn't going to do it. I mean, also, mummies are zombies. I don't think you can put some Savlon cream or some moisturiser on a zombie and they get better. I don't think so. Would a kraken attack a submarine or be confused by it? I'm pretty sure that krakens are like big octopusy underwater things, aren't they? I really don't think that. I don't think that. I don't think that a submarine is going to freak them out too much. I really don't. I've got a few more questions here. My phone has just reset and it's overwritten some of my old questions and given me some new ones, but I don't think we've got time to do all of these. Could a ghost get trapped inside another ghost? What happens then? I don't know. We have to ask Douglas if that's possible. If a werewolf goes to the vet instead of a doctor, would that actually make more sense? I mean, potentially. As long as he's not going to be, cross with the vet, or the doctor, really. If a werewolf needs to go to a doctor or a vet, then, it better be on its best behaviour. Do dragons prefer their food well done or lightly charred? I know Albert likes his well done, but there's a question about Medusa again, looking at herself in a mirror and would she turn herself to stone? I don't think that happens, but I might be wrong. What does it feel like for a ghost when he walks through a wall? Is it like walking through jelly? If a mummy sneezes, does it just unravel completely? Well, I mean, depends how well he was wrapped, I suppose. Could a centaur get back pain from being both horse and human? I imagine it could be uncomfortable. Do poltergeists ever wish they could have a quiet night in as a change from flipping over the furniture? I mean, Polty is always pretty energetic, but I don't think Bettina is plagued by him constantly making a racket. What about a basilisk? A basilisk petrifying somebody who's already a statue? Well, if someone's already stone, then could a kraken get tangled in its own tentacles like headphones in a pocket? Probably. Do skeletons feel embarrassed when they fall apart in public? Well, they're bound to, aren't they? If a witch loses her broom, is it like losing your car or your phone? Absolutely, I would have thought. Absolutely like that. Do monsters have support groups where they complain about humans stereotyping them? Again, I think so. Yeah, I think that's enough. I think it's time to. I guess we can check on the chat room again. Let's have a look. Zurich9 says, if the speaker is a leader, he is surprisingly entertaining. Thank you. The Laura of the Seventh Ring says, agreed. I propose we continue monitoring. Also, what is like and subscribe? Did I say that? I don't think I've said that. Are they listening to this podcast or another one? Grunk says, it sounds delicious. The Prelim says, I think it's a ritual offering. Exel Thari says, then we must comply for diplomacy. I think Yeti Uncle John and Cromitty are ready to speak to us in a moment. So let's just have a quick bit of music, and then when we come back, we'll check on the boys. Okay? Okay.
Gianluca, you were here before, traveling through the ages. Your paws touch ground in times profound. Your heart fights on through all the stages. So take me where the stars shine bright in the night. We'll break through the barriers tight in the light. In the light. In the light.
Roberty, it's Uncle John, are you there? Hello, Paul, where are you? I'm out in space. Oh, very good. Why didn't you ask us? I didn't get much chance to. Ick found out I was free and asked me along, and I said yes, and, well, I had to sort of make a quick decision. Oh dear, well, I suppose I'd be busy anyway. Yes, well, how are you both? Happy Easter, by the way. Oh yes, Paul, are you going to be back in time for Easter dinner? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how long we're going to be out. If I'm not back, make me some and leave it in the fridge or something. All right, Paul, I will. Are you meeting up with Bettina or anybody or Tallulah? I don't think so. Obviously, I've got to see Charlotte. We've got wedding planning to do. Oh yes, wedding planning. I probably should be doing the same. Still, there's plenty of time yet, isn't there? I think. I lose track. Oh dear, Paul. Well, you know, Matty and I are engaged, podcast engaged, and we're going to get podcast married in the same way as you are with Uncle John. But I know we've been throwing dates around, but anyway. Oh dear. Oh, so what can you see from the window? What can I see from the window? Funny you ask. I've made some notes. We were by Jupiter and Saturn at one point, but now we're near Kepler 442b. I'm not sure where that is compared to the other two. Yeah, something uncharted. I think it's uncharted. But it's called, yes, Kepler 442b. It's a distant exoplanet orbiting a dim red star. Its surface glows in deep emerald and violet tones, as if its oceans reflect a sky no human has ever seen. Lightning storms ripple horizontally across... Oh dear, Paul. Space travel makes you get tongue-tied. It does, but then, well, that happens most times. Oh, it does, Paul, yes. Thanks, Cromitty. Lightning storms ripple horizontally across the atmosphere, forming luminous bands that pulse like a heartbeat. A smaller moon, unmapped, unnamed, casts long shadows across its surface, revealing vast crystalline structures that jut upward like cities, grown, not built. It doesn't feel dead, it feels aware, though the planet itself is quietly observing our passage. Is looking up your passage? No, Yeti, Uncle John. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, Paul. I'd be careful of that planet. I guess Ig knows what he's doing. Yes, I think he does. Listeners, we probably, after we've talked to the guys, I've got some agony aunt questions to do at the end of the show, so, but yes, Yeti Uncle John, Cromitty, I was telling the listeners that I've written a little story the other day, and I wonder what you might think of it. Are you going to read it to us, Paul? I am, actually, yes. Now, I don't know about the title. It's called Playing Merry Hell. I actually sort of dreamt this. Go on then, Paul, hurry up. Okay. So, yeah, I'm calling it Playing Merry Hell, but I don't know, it may get a change of title. All right, Paul. Here we go. It was only meant to be an innocent Sunday school Christmas party. It was meant to be fun. Nobody realised, you see. The recent work on the outside of the building appeared to have changed the whole structure of the old church hall. The atmospherics were different, they said. Sounds carried differently. Everyone, all the adults there that day, blamed it on the acoustics, but it was somehow more than that. Yet still no one is prepared to admit it. When those poor children began to play their party games, when their excited cries grew louder, well, their sounds began to reverb and bounce off the walls, and it disturbed something. The vicar blamed it on bats, of course, cross about recent renovations in the hall, and now furious about the rising noise. But nobody saw bats. Nobody really saw anything, although there was definitely something there, something which descended from the ceiling like a cloud of dust. Only it wasn't dust. It had intent, and the kids' laughter quickly turned to cries, and the lights flickered and then went out. And then the children began screaming and screaming and screaming. Their eyes shone with their fear, illuminated by the small torches on their parents' mobile phones. and screaming. They just wouldn't stop. Why didn't they stop? Why? It's been days now. Why don't they stop? Why? Oh my goodness, Paul, what a joyous Easter story. Thank you very much, Yeti Uncle John. Oh, Paul, that was marvellous. Yeti Uncle John's only making light of it because he's scared. I'm not scared. I'm not scared at all. Not scared about scary things. Oh, it was very mysterious. Anyway, we've got to go now. Oh dear, Paul, you should have warned us it was a scary one. Well, all my short stories are pretty scary. Well, kind of. Oh yes, well, we've got to go now. All right, yes, Uncle John, sorry. I hope you didn't wake yourself. I did not wake myself, not yet, nearly. Oh dear, come on, let's go and sort you out. I don't need sorting out. Well, bye guys. Yes, happy Easter. Oh, anyway, looks like, my scary story was a bit too scary. I don't know. I sort of dreamed that, but I don't know. I woke up and I was like, oh, I think you need to write this down. I sort of pictured it, and almost in the dream, I was always writing the story, so I was almost awake. But anyway, let's listen to some more music, and then when we come back, we'll do some agony aunt questions, and then I have to go because I'm sure Ig would like some company up front. Yes, right. So have a listen. Where was I? Okay, yes. Agony aunt questions. I have recorded quite a few agony aunt sections, and not all of them, and many of them you haven't heard yet. But I was saying to one of my guests when we were doing this, years ago we asked for letters so we could have an agony aunt section, and nothing came, and we sort of gave up, and we thought, it was a hopeless idea. But turns out people were sending their letters, but they all got sent to the wrong address. They were all sent to the wrong address. And I'm trying to group them into topics. Now, the letters we're dealing with today are all about the letter writers had encounters with angry fruit or vegetables. Sort of a little bit potentially dipping into the whole fructophobia situation that Yeti Uncle John suffers from or claimed to suffer from at one point. Fear of fruit, possibly. I don't know, we'll see. First one's about a passive-aggressive banana. Dear Paul the Shy Yeti, every morning I pack a banana for work, and every afternoon it's gone brown and mushy, almost as if it chose to self-destruct out of spite. Yesterday it split open in my bag and ruined my papers. Is this revenge? I once said I preferred apples. Signed, Slipping on Thin Peel. I think you're right. I think it is a form of revenge. I think bananas are a bit like a hive mind. As long as they came from the same tree or the same community of bananas, they have like a hive mind. So you could, you might have said you preferred apples in front of one banana, but before whatever happened to that banana, before the banana was eaten, it would have passed on like to other bananas in the area what you said. So I think they can be they can be very spiteful, bananas. Just be very careful. Be very careful. I put them in a Tupperware box or something, especially if they're trying to spoil your papers. Good luck. Let's know how it goes. Next one, lettuce with an attitude. Dear Paul the Shy Yeti, my fridge lettuce has started wilting dramatically whenever I open the door, as if fainting for attention. It perks up when guests arrive. I feel manipulated. How do I set boundaries with leafy greens? Signed, Emotionally Drained in Derby. Lettuce can be very time-consuming and attention-seeking, and I tend not to. I know this is awful. I tend to buy ready prepared salad. So you get it and you pretty much eat it that day. It doesn't have time to sit there and be passive aggressive. I don't really buy like a whole lettuce or a whole cucumber or a big bag of tomatoes. I just buy something ready made, and it's there and it's gone. Partly because I have been made to feel very, very, as if I'm the bad one in the relationship, particularly with well, actually it was a cauliflower, but lettuce as well. The next one's about judgmental carrots. Dear Paul the Shy Yeti, whenever I snack on crisps, I swear the carrots in the veg drawer roll slightly forward as if judging me. Last night one snapped in half loudly when I reached for chocolate. Am I being shamed by root vegetables? Signed, Guilty in Glasgow. You probably are. Also, don't forget that crisps are made of potatoes. But, obviously potatoes that have been coated in oil and things, so carrots do have that sort of very healthy. But you can make crisps out of vegetables, other vegetables. So I've had those. I like those crisps that are sometimes like made out of root vegetables. Maybe you want to show them what their future could look like. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit cruel. But it sounds like your carrots are just trying to make you feel bad for eating, chocolate, and you should be eating me. I'm healthy. But who knows? The next one is it's about tomatoes that create a tantrum, basically. Dear Paul the Shy Yeti, my tomatoes keep bursting at the slightest inconvenience. Too hot, burst. Too cold, burst. I looked at one the wrong way, burst. Their emotional instability is ruining my salads. Advice. Signed, Walking on Eggshells and Seeds. Tomatoes can be like this, and they can be like this all year round. Obviously, depending on where you store them, they can turn quite quickly, not just in their appearance, but also in their mood. I tend to stick mine in the air fryer, actually. They soon stop complaining when you do that to them. But I've discovered that, I quite like air-fried tomatoes. It's sometimes these vegetables are very much stuck in their ways. They just act like the stereotypical tomato, or they don't. There's not a lot of variety, and I'm probably going to get told off for saying this. There's not a lot of variety in the way that they behave. So, whereas with people, you get nice people, nasty people, sarcastic people, whatever. Tomatoes, their emotional range is a little bit sort of. None of these vegetables or fruits are around for long, and they're probably a bit cross about that, to be honest. The next letter I have is called The Broccoli Uprising, not The Raisin Invasion. Of course, I wrote a song called The Raisin Invasion. The raisin invasion. Yes. Dear Paul the Yeti, I boiled broccoli last night, and now the rest of the broccoli in my kitchen seems hostile. The florets lean toward me ominously, and one fell off the counter when I walked past. Are they plotting? Signed Nervous in Nottingham. They could be plotting. I mean, I like things like Brussels sprouts, and I like broccoli. I tend to be quite greedy, so, I probably use the whole bag of Brussels sprouts on one day, or at most in 2 days. As for broccoli, just chop the whole thing up and I just use all of it in one go. There's no real chance of it to sort of get cross because it sees other broccoli being steamed or whatever. Yeah, just don't get too much. I think you just have to limit your veg. Don't buy all. I mean, also certain times of year, if you buy too much at once, it all goes off very quickly. It's better to buy little and often, I'd say. Gosh. The next one is, grapes of wrath, literally. Dear Paul the Yeti, a bag of grapes I bought has begun rolling out of the bowl one by one. I stepped on 3 yesterday. I think they're trying to trip me. Is this coordinated behaviour? Should I separate them? Signed, Underfoot and Under Siege. Well, as I've said already, yes. They probably are trying to trip you up. They're cross. Vegetables and fruit are usually cross. They know their time is short. Even if you don't eat them, they know that they'll perish. You rarely find a vegetable or a fruit that's a bundle of laughs. Except for certain oranges who, I don't know, some oranges are just nuts. Well, they're not nuts, they're oranges. But anyway, getting the silent treatment from potatoes is the next one. Dear Paul the Yeti, my potatoes have started sprouting aggressively and refusing to cook evenly. I feel like they're giving me the silent treatment. Did I offend them by making chips last week? Signed, Confused in Cambridge. Now look, a lot of these letters are becoming quite... My advice sort of follows on with these letters. Yes, they probably are giving you the silent treatment. And yes, it probably is because they saw you making chips. I mean, it's as simple as that. I'm sorry. It's just what you have to deal with. I mean, imagine if you were a vegetarian and you're probably dealing with even more vegetables than somebody who eats meat. They're not happy. They're not happy, I'm sorry. The vegetables, I mean, not the vegetarians. Pepper rage. Pepper rage is the next one. Dear Paul the Yeti, I cut into a bell pepper and it squirted juice directly into my eye. This felt targeted. Since then, all peppers in my kitchen seem extra glossy and suspicious. How do I rebuild trust? Signed, Blinded by Betrayal. I thought they were going to say, is this is this deliberate? Yes, because we've already established that probably it is deliberate. But how do we rebuild trust? It's almost not worth it. Just put them in the air fryer, stuff them with rice or mince, even if you unless you're vegetarian, and then don't. But maybe, I don't know, for corn. I don't know. There's lots of recipes, I'm sure, for bell peppers. Don't think there's time to rebuild trust. You can talk to them. You could say, look, I am going to eat you today, but I really like spending time with you. I really like, because with bell peppers, there's the green ones, there's the yellow ones, there's red ones, sometimes there's orange ones. I don't know, I'm not sure if there's a hierarchy where one is perceived to be better than the other. I think I quite like them all for different reasons. They all have slightly different taste. Maybe play them their favourite music. I think bell peppers are probably quite into Sergeant Pepper, Butter Beetles, Red Hot Chili Peppers, maybe, although bell peppers and chili peppers do have a certain rivalry. I don't know. We've got 2 more. Onion manipulation is the next one. Dear Paul the Yeti, every time I chop onions, I cry uncontrollably. I know that's normal, but it feels personal. Yesterday I wasn't even cutting one, and it was just nearby, and I teared up. Are they escalating? In tears in York, it's signed. Well, we have established that vegetables have got it in for us. Unless you're experiencing what I experience with songs, with the Yeti test, maybe you're experiencing vegetables of high quality that are causing you to tear up. Maybe you're just seeing an onion and thinking, that onion's bloody great. I love it. I love that onion. And in the same way as I do if I hear the latest song by Kylie and it really, flips my wig. I don't know. Onions are a weird one. Anyway, the last one is the apple that holds grudges. Dear agony aunt, I left an apple uneaten for a week. Now it has gone soft on one side, but remains oddly firm on the other, like it's choosing when to decay. It rolled off the counter this morning and bruised itself further. Is this self-sabotage to make me feel guilty? Signed, Bruised Ego in Bristol. Well, yes. And yes again. This is what they're trying to do. I mean, it's a cry for help. Well, it's a cry to be eaten. It's a cry to be used. I think with a lot of vegetables, what is worse for them, what's worse than being eaten is not being eaten, being allowed to rot, and then being thrown in, like the garbage heap. Have you seen, most garbage heaps, the bits of potato peel and it stinks out there, and they get rained on and they just rot. It's not a great way to go. It's kind of better to be eaten and then pooed out. I don't know. Don't think that sounds great actually. Now I think about it, but. Anyway, that's all the agony aunt letters I have for this episode, and that's pretty much all we've got time for on our live show. There won't be any extra material. I think we've gone on quite long enough. Anyway, hopefully we'll be back to normal next time with proper theme music and everything. And I apologise for it's a different type of show again, because we had a Yeti Spaghetti show last time, which was because of technological problems. But anyway, this is different again. A hark back to the days of live shows. So anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed our little tour around the galaxy, and I'm back in a moment. I'll be back in a moment. Obviously, there'll be a little bit of music, which is it's not going to be our usual theme music, but it'll be some form of music which you've got to consider is our replacement theme music. Anyway, let's listen to that, and when we come back, I'll check in the chat room, I think. Yes. Hi, listeners. Yes, we're back again. Let's see what the chat room has to say about the rest of the show. Although, as I say, part of me wonders whether half the time whether they're even talking about my show or whether they're listening to a number of different shows. Zerk9 says the host has changed tone again. Is this a new emotional mode or a system glitch? Velora of the Seventh Ring says it appears to be something called sarcasm. Humans say one thing and mean another. Highly inefficient. Well, it's true. I mean, there's a lot of sarcasm on the Charlotte podcast. Grunk says, I tried sarcasm once. I told a nebula it was small. It did not appreciate it. I'm not surprised. Plim says, focus. The host just paused dramatically. I believe this is for suspense. This must have been when I was reading that story. Excel Thari says, my senses are spiking. I am experiencing anticipation. Is this normal? Yeah, this must definitely have been when I was reading the story. Zerk9 says, I am logging the sensation. It is enjoyable, concerning. Valora of the Seventh Ring says, the host is interacting with unseen entities called chat. Are we the chat? You are indeed, guys. Grunk says, if we are the chat, I request snacks. Plim says, that is not how it works. XL Thari says, the host just thanked someone named Dave. Who is Dave? Is he a rival commander? I didn't mention anyone called Dave. I think they must be listening to more than one show. Zerk9 says, investigating Dave. There are too many. The species produces Daves at an alarming rate. Valora of the Seventh Ring says, the host is smiling again. Smiling? How can they tell I'm smiling? I am beginning to understand why humans watch each other do things. Yes, says Grunk, it is like watching prey, but friendlier. Plim says, that is a deeply unsettling comparison, Grunk. XL Tari says, alert, the host just said we'll be right back. Where are they going? Zerk9 says, stay calm, it may be a ritual disappearance. Valora of the Seventh Ring says, if they do not return, we will have to assume the broadcast has claimed them. Grunk says, if so, I volunteer to host Earth. Plim says, absolutely not. I think we might have lost connection there because that's where it ends. Anyway. Well, thanks, guys, if you can still hear us. We may have got out of range because we are constantly moving. Thanks to the chat room. Whether you were listening to me or a mixture of shows, I'm not sure. Sounds like you might have been watching YouTube video broadcast if you could see someone smiling, which I'm not doing. I'm not on camera. Anyway. Oh, there's some more music. I guess I'm supposed to stop again. Hi, Ick. I think we're still broadcasting. I was about to switch off, though.
Oh, that's fine, Paul. We're probably going to make a pit stop. And we need to get some fuel.
Oh, fine. Yes.
How's it been? How's it gone?
Good. Chat room seems to have vanished. I'm not sure they were actually listening to me half the time. I made some more notes. Was that Neptune we went past just a minute ago?
Yes, Paul, Neptune.
Yeah, I wrote this. Drifting into the cold, out of dark, we pass the distant blue glow of Neptune, its atmosphere swirling in deep sapphire and indigo currents, winds ripping across its surface faster than anything on Earth. A storm the size of a planet pulses faintly, appearing and disappearing like a slow breath. Orbiting nearby, Triton gleams with a ghostly frozen sheen. Is it Triton? Did I get that wrong? I thought I mentioned Triton in the previous... Did I? Oh no, Titan that was. Is it Triton?
Oh, I think so, Paul. I don't know all the names of the pet planets.
Pet planet? I was trying to Google through travel to make sure I got the names right, but... Triton gleams with a ghostly frozen sheen, its surface fractured. Nitrogen geysers erupting in a thin, shadowy plume that vanish into space. Beyond them, barely visible, is a rogue world. Nixara, an uncharted planet with no star to call its own. It drifts in total darkness, its surface lit only by faint, bioluminescent veins that snake across continents like glowing rivers, as if the planet has its own quiet internal pulse, guiding it through the void.
Oh, Paul, that's quite poetic.
That's what I said earlier, yeah. I think I need to do a bit more writing, I think. Anyway, is it time to go?
It is time to go, Paul, yes.
Well, if anyone can still hear us, goodbye. As I say, a bit of a different show, sort of new and yet slightly old style. And yeah, apologies to the title sequence for not including you this time. I just haven't had the technology, no.
Poor Paul.
Poor old me. Yeah. Oh, thanks to Cromity Yeti Uncle John too. Yes, I think I made Yeti Uncle John cry.
Oh dear.
Oh well. Okay, listeners, bye for now. Send in your comments or letters or whatever. We might do another live show soon. All right. Okay. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
I think that went quite well, Paul.
Yeah, I think so.
You should be pleased with yourself.
No, it's fine. It was nice to do a live show after all this time.
Yes, Paul, yes.
The Shy Life Podcast. Thanks for listening. Join us again soon.